Couple years down the road, you're sitting at home one night, you're watching uh you're watching a movie. It's on like Hulu, or some streaming service. You're sitting there, the movie is called For Those Who Want It.
Okay. What is
And
it?
it's like a thriller, you know. It's about a guy uh and his work wife. Their relationship kind of spirals out of control.
Okay.
It heats up between the two of them. Like it's known a couple years from now, it's known as having like one of the most erotic scenes in all of like modern cinema that is like within the scope of what the viewing public would find acceptable to watch.
Okay. Well, what is it?
Man, it's just like a really sexy scene.
Yeah.
Takes place at a work barbecue event. They each kind of get to the event early. They're both like, civic minded people. You know, it's part of why they have such an intense chemistry. They both get to the event a little bit early. They're asking around like, "Hey, what can we help with? Oh, unpack these tables, unpack these chairs. Let's get some. Let's get a silverware station set up." You got one of the CEOs on the working the grill. You know,
Okay.
he has no idea what he's doing, but by God, he's trying. He's out
Oh,
there.
sure.
Yeah,
One of those.
he's got an HR, or he's got a fucking apron on. It says "Kiss the Cook," and then that is stricken out, and it says "Please do not for HR reasons." And then the bottom of the apron says, "But I'll kindly take a compliment." So it's like
Ugh.
his like apron that he puts on when he like wants to let people know, like, "Hey, here's the fucking line, dude. You know, don't come at me with any of this other shit. There's no flirtation. I'm a nice man. I'm here to cook these burgers. I'm here to roll these dogs." But that's where it ends. I'm still your
Huh.
fucking boss. It's just like a
Okay.
very matter of fact apron that he wears to let people know what's fucking going on here.
Sure.
Because yeah, there have been events in this guy's life where in the past he hasn't worn an apron that with such explicit text and people get the wrong idea. And he's worked hard to get to this position. The last thing he wants is to lose his career, to lose his livelihood over some, crossed wire or some sideways glance taken to mean more than what it actually is.
Okay.
That's why he wears that fucking apron.
There's backstory to this apron.
I mean, it cost him a pretty penny. It's not like you can just like pick that up from the store. It's pretty explicit. So he's got to custom order it. So point being, these two, they're at this work event with some pretty strict guidelines, with some guardrails in place that you think would prevent the two of them from having at one another. But over the course of the scene, the wind blows, a skirt gets lifted up in the breeze. Two people burning hot for one another crawl underneath a gingham lined table whose edges don't stop till they hits the fucking ground. Cloaked in the comfort of blindness, the two of them crawl towards one another underneath the table and make ravenous love to each other within earshot of all their coworkers.
Wow.
The gingham is thin enough to where you can see through it, so you can see people's shoes, their legs. as they walk by, moments, inches from being caught.
Yeah.
The AVN, actually, the Adult Video Awards, right? They actually establish an award based on this. They go, it's called the Sexiest Normal Scene Award, and it goes to the hottest scene in like regular cinema throughout the year. You know,
Why do this?
because they say, look, this is the V. It stands for video. You know, like this is still an art form. This is still a medium. And yeah, we may be on this end of the spectrum, but we feel like we should also recognize some of the great work being done by our more tame counterparts.
Hmm.
So yeah, you know, it's a pretty sexy movie.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
How does it end?
Um, they like most great things, they don't turn out to be what you would think they are at first, you know. The two lovers run hot throughout the film, making love in public on several different occasions. Um, one time they do it in a uh Taco Bell drive-through line in between ordering and getting to the window.
Oh, wow.
Um, it was a Friday. It was late at night on a Friday, so there was a bit of a line, you know, but they pulled it off. They did that. There was one where they were in a sporting goods store, in like a changing room in a sporting goods store. They put a hole in the drywall. You know, there's like a lot of different,
Jeez.
you know, just a lot of different passions on display for those who want it. So you're sitting there watching for those who want it, right? Commercial comes on. It's for like it's like a Scrub Daddy alternative. You know, the Scrub Daddy,
What?
the Scrub Daddy. It's like the sponge, or it's like the pad, the scouring pad. Have you heard of this?
I don't think so.
It's called the Scrub Daddy, right? It's a scouring pad, like a Brillo pad kind of a thing, and it has like it looks like a smiley face, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I know this thing.
So
I've
there's
used it.
yeah, the Scrub Daddy's been around. So, you have one, right? But you're sitting there watching this commercial, and it's for this new thing called Mr. Scrubs.
Oh,
And
man.
it's like a long handle, and it's like for scrubbing and hard to reach areas. And the face is like a sad old man's face. Like he has like he's very jowly,
Oh,
right?
man. He's a mascot?
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Scrubs.
Mr. Scrubs.
So there's all these videos, they're like the commercial of people scrubbing in hard to reach areas, sticking Mr. Scrubs into like cylindrical objects, cups, things like that. There's a guy from the Smithsonian who cleans like a vase with one that's worth like more money than you'll make in your fucking lifetime. It's one of those. And
Oh,
you're
great.
thinking about like, sometimes it is hard to clean like a glass, the inside of a glass, like just like a drinking glass, like a 16-ounce glass. It's not very wide, you gotta maneuver, or you gotta push, and it's just like you're like, I think I could use a Mr. Scrubs. So caught up in the haze of the impending eroticism of the film you're watching, you order a Mr. Scrubs, right? You sleep later on that night thinking about the film, just the beads of sweat. How many do they go through? Hundreds, just dripping onto one another throughout the course of the movie. You wake up, right? It's a weekend. You got the day off. You're sitting around. You're gonna watch the sequel today for those who want it again. And the sequel takes a little bit of a turn, right?
Really?
Yeah, instead of being like this borderline art house erotic thriller, This one, it kind of like takes a turn into so basically like our two lovers are, it ends with like a car chase, right? And she like drives off the cliff, and there's like an explosion. He kind of stands at the edge of the cliff and just like wipes tears from his eyes.
Whoa.
The second one starts with him like at a cafe, and he's like clearly sad, he's got on like black clothes. He's having a black coffee, he's just like very sad, right?
The coffee is in morning too.
Yeah. The only cream he puts in, he makes a little frowny face with it.
Oh, poor guy.
So he's pretty sad, Um, he's trying to move throughout the world in like a regular way, but he just can't, he left his wife, now this woman, he watched her drive off a cliff and the throes of passion. It happens sometimes. So he feels lost. He feels aimless. He feels lonely. And then he's sitting there at the coffee shop, and it was the same day as the running of the Bulls, and he looks up at the television, and there's like a guy reporting for the running of the Bulls, and the woman that he swore blew up on the cliffside is running through the streets of Spain. It looks exactly like her, down to a birthmark she has on the back of her arm that looks like the middle finger, just like a fist giving the middle finger. So so it turns into this thing where he's like got to go to Spain now, he's got to go and see if he can find her, right? And it turns into just like this guy's like sad lonely trip where he's just like looking for, I mean, what is ultimately a ghost. There's no eroticism in it whatsoever. It's very bleak.
Gee, why would they make this?
Because because the guy who directed it, this was like the film he wanted to make, this character piece about a man who gave up something in pursuit of something else that he ultimately lost, and now he has nothing. And in order to get the money to make that, you got to put
He
a little
had to,
skin on film.
yeah, but this isn't a
You,
very erotic film, you're saying.
oh, not at all. It couldn't be less erotic. It's
Wow.
very dour. But the two of the movies together, the whole thing about this guy is that people are like, yeah, neither one of these movies are like exceptional, but they have like remarkable moments within them, and they're so very different from each other that it's kind of a testament to how skilled of a director this guy is, you know. So it's
Oh,
kind of like
wow.
watched in from that perspective. So yeah, like imagine if Scorsese did like an Adam Sandler Happy Madison movie, Like people
Yeah.
would it be great? Probably not, but there would be parts of it that would be fantastic, I'm sure. Sort of similar in that regard. So you're sitting there watching the film. You hear a knock on your door, then you hear like a thud. You're like, "Oh, I had a package," right? You go out there. You remember you were getting that Mr. Scrubs. You open the door, and Mr. Scrubs, again, it's like a wand, it's like the size of like a fucking large whisk, it's not huge, but there's a box on your porch that is every bit of like 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. You go, huh, that's weird. It's got your name on it. You get a notification on your phone that says, hey, your order has arrived. Is everything okay? You know,
From
you
who?
pick it up from like Amazon.
Oh, okay.
You pick it up and it's significantly heavier than a Mr. Scrubs would be. Because every now and then, yeah, they'll put something small in a giant box, like something gets fucked up. But this
Sure.
is certainly not what I ordered. So you're looking at the app on your phone and you click no. Like everything is not like it's not right.
It's
They
not
connect you
right.
with a customer service agent.
This isn't right.
It's not right. They connect you with an agent, and the agent's like, "Hey, what's going on? What's happening?" And you're like, "Hey, I ordered a
What's
Mr. Scrubs,
happening?
and yeah,
What's happening,
I
dude?
ordered him. Look, they've gotten like way more chill. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, he got married and he's really like honestly kind of been cool about stuff, you know?
Really?
Yeah. So,
Power of love.
down, down, and don't need money, don't,
Damn, damn,
yeah.
damn, damn.
Can you feel it? It's the power of love. That's the hold music anytime you call Amazon. It's the power of love just over and over again.
And do you think
Oh,
anyone
can you
listening knows
feel
this
it?
song?
Yeah, it's in fucking Back to the Future.
I hope someone does.
Point being,
It's always that song.
yeah, it's just a fucking loop. You so the agent comes on and you're like, yeah, I ordered a Mr. Scrub and what I got is like significantly larger. And she's like, oh, can you show me the box? So you're on like a video call. He turns your phone around and you're like, she's like, oh yeah, that doesn't appear right. She kind of was just like typing on her keyboard. She goes, Pat, I have an offer for you. And you're like the video call changes and on the screen is a very, very handsome man. He's his age is somewhere in between 28 and 37. He has dirty blonde hair, a pearly white smile, piercing blue eyes. He's wearing some sort of incredibly expensive Italian suit and he's looking you in the eyes and he goes, Pat, are you ready to play? And then from your phone you hear like a chorus of voices that are connected to bodies that don't exist anymore, just this lonely chorus of voices who exist just to appease this singular moment. You hear him say, pick it or pack it. And then you hear like some game show music, da 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 da
Yeah.
do do do
Okay.
do 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 do. Just like this whole like 70s thing. You hear like a penny flute ripping up some shit.
Okay.
And standing in front of you, being projected from your phone, is a 5 foot 10 inch tall version of this man. And he's kind of like he's got like a microphone, like a Bob Barker, one of those little tiny, like a Virginia Slim microphone, one of those long, skinny ones. He's holding it, he's got it down by his belly button. That's how long it is. It's like a very long microphone, like that Bob Barker used to have.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He goes, all right, America. He goes, today we've got Pat with us. And he kind of like motions over to you. He goes, Pat, tell us how old you are and where you live. And you're kind of like looking at your phone. It's like flashing red at you. Do you
I'd be
tell
like,
him?
I would say, what the hell is going on?
He goes, well, Pat, you're on. And he points like, and the hologram like sort of reveals a crowd that is like a full 10 to 12 rows deep, probably 300 people. And the whole crowd looks at you with dead eyes and they say, pick it or pack it. It goes back to the guy. He goes, that's right. It's America's favorite game show, pick it or pack it. He goes, it works like this. He goes, Pat, you have been delivered a package that does not belong to you. You can either take the package as is, or, and then he points back to the crowd and they go, pack it and send it back. He pulls up your Amazon order, right? He goes, Pat ordered a Mr. Scrubs. And they show just that old man's face, just that old jowly, coarse scouring pad
Yeah.
on that handle. And you think of how easy it's going to make your life when it comes to cleaning out these glasses, right? So they're showing what the Mr. Scrubs is, right? The breakdown of the transaction history. They go, Pat, you put this on a Visa, and they like read the Visa with like the last four numbers live on television.
That's not good.
Yeah, I mean your credit card gets stolen
Why did they do that?
virtually immediately. I don't know. So he goes, Pat, your choice today is, do you keep the parcel you received or do you pack it up for a return? What'll it be? And you see he extends that long ass microphone right towards you.
Picket.
He says he kind of looks and he goes, America, Pat has chosen to pick it. And they all kind of go, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh."
Oh, man. Oh, and these voices are all long dead, is what you're saying.
That's just like the impression that you get. Yeah. So the guy with the
So
microphone,
stupid.
guy with the microphone, he looks back at you and he snaps his fingers and a box cutter appears out of nothingness and falls on top of the package.
Oh no.
He goes, well, Pat, open her up. Let's see what you've won.
All right, fuck it.
The crowd's, you grab that fucking box cutter. The crowd starts chanting, cut, 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 cut. You kind of like look at your phone. Devilish grin comes across your face. You slip the point of that razor into the tape like a knife through hot butter, you know? It enters just without any resistance. That's how sharp this thing is. You gently glide that blade through the tape, running the finger of your other hand on the inside of the cut, sort of teasing the box open as you go.
Jeez.
You get to the
Ugh.
end, you raise the flaps slowly, pressing them down at the side of the box, trying to crease them a little bit, you know, saying, hey, stay in place. Just being a little dominant over this box.
Okay.
You open up the other two flaps, same thing. You kind of stand with your weight leaning onto the box, pressing the flaps down, pushing them into the sides,
Yeah.
just exerting yourself over the box.
Ugh. Okay.
You look in and there's like a it's like a black plastic container of some kind, right? You can't really see because it's in the box. You lay the box on its side. You kind of like scoot it out of the box, you know, you like scoot it so it kind of comes out and then you it gets a little bit out and you press your hands against that slick black plastic and squeeze. You draw the case out of the box itself and set it upright. And it says Fulmer Farm Supply on the side of it. The guy with the microphone, he goes, "So Pat, what is it?" You're looking, you're like, I don't know,
No idea.
you know. You kind of inspect it. You see where there's like a perforated edge at the very bottom of this thing. You find like a loose thread. Do you pull it?
Absolutely.
You pull it. It undoes this perforated area at the bottom. You grab the top of the black plastic case that sort of covers this box shaped thing. You lift it up, and it's a container of 3 bags of it says pig manure. And as soon as you raise it, like your apartment immediately starts to smell like pig shit, right? It's just like a very foul.
Uh,
You're like, oh no, right? And the guy kind of like leans in and he like waves his nose. He goes, "Oh, PU." He goes, "Pat, tell America what you got."
Manure.
You say manure, and then that chorus of people, they just start laughing. They go, "Ha ha 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 ha."
Yeah, I guess how could you not?
He goes, "Well, Pat, it doesn't always work out here on Picket or Packet." He goes, "But that's why we offer," and you hear like a cash register cha-ching. He goes, "The second chance." He
Fuck
goes,
yeah.
"Pat, knowing what you know now, would you rather Picket or Packet?" He says, "We're giving you an opportunity to return the manure and get your Mr. Scrubs as you originally intended." He
Well
goes, "If you'd
then,
like to keep the manure, feel free."
I'm turning this in.
He says, "Pat, are you sure?"
Yeah, I thought about it for a while, and yeah, I'm gonna turn it in. I hate
He
being
kind
on
of
this
like
show so much.
he kind of like looks to the crowd. He goes, "Folks, he's gonna pack it." And they all cheer, right? And
Why?
for the first time you like you see like the crowd move a little bit, they start to like they're in like clearly what is like several rows of, seats, bleachers or whatever, and
Mhm.
they all start to shift a little bit. And every now and then somebody will get up and move to a different row, they start to shift. And the guy with the microphone, he goes, "All righty, Pat." He goes, "How about you put the cover back on those bags of manure before your neighbors complain?" And you're like, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea." So you put the cover back on the bag of manure. You turn around, and when you turn around, you are standing in a television studio. But it looks like everything is still made out of static, It's still like it looks like standard definition television, maybe even earlier than that, like the antenna days. Everything looks a little fuzzy. You look up, you see a whole fucking row of people just sitting looking forward, slight smiles on their faces. They're all just kind of looking forward, waiting. Again, you see like 10 rows worth of people. You look behind you, you see that the big box with the bags of manures in it, it's still right there with you. It's chained to your fucking leg.
What?
You go, "What the fuck is going on?" And then you turn and you see like the first person in the lowermost row of seats turns her head and looks at you, and she motions you to come over, and she pats the seat next to her that's empty now. You go over there.
Yeah, I do.
You go over, you're dragging this fucking crate full of big shit behind you.
Yeah. What the fuck is going on here, lady?
So you get over to the chair. She kind of like turns and is looking back forward towards like the camera. Do you sit in the chair?
Hmm.
You sit down in the chair and you see like the figure of the man with the microphone sort of floating in the background. Like he's kind of like coming in and out of the light. You see just his figure. You can't make it out hardly anything of him, but you see that he's like walking back and forth. Um, so slowly over the next 500 years,
What?
people who are in the row start like leaving and they're returning their items from Amazon and they're getting the thing that they ordered. And then as soon as they get the thing they order, they just fall and right there in one spot and like turn to dust. And so slowly you just kind of like have to wait for 500 years as like the line snakes around through all 10 rows of those people. They return they return the item from picket or packet and then they get what they originally wanted, but then they're like hundreds of years older at that point and they just disintegrate and nothingness right there. Your body after 500 years your body just turns to dust and then a janitor just comes and fucking sweeps it up. He dumps you into a trash can, right? He dumps you into the men's room trash can.
What the fuck?
And then he leaves for the
What?
weekend. So it's you and like everybody who was in the stands that chose to return their picket or packet item. They just you guys all got lumped in together as like one big pile of human dust, just dumped into a men's room trash. And then he left for the weekend. It was a holiday weekend, so it was 3 days. You guys just stunk it up together in there. But you're fucking dead.
Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, so like my consciousness is gone too.
Oh yeah, you were just trapped there for 500 years. You're just
Oh
pretty much unmoving,
no.
except only when somebody vacated their seat to turn in their item, and then you watch them like turn to dust. So you knew what was coming for 500 years, and you just had to sit and wait through all of it, smelling that shit the whole fucking time.
Who's responsible for this fucking TV show? This is the worst. Ah,
I don't
this
know.
sucks.
They didn't, you know, didn't declare it.